Hey everyone, thanks for watching today's video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to talk about parallel lines and their angles. So when a transversal intersects any two lines, a series of angles are formed and given special names. So even if the lines are not parallel, these names actually still apply. But when the transversal intersects two parallel lines, certain rules hold true. And you might not have heard the word transversal before, so I really want to go through that. It's really just a line that kind of goes through two other lines. So if we have two lines, there's not much space here. But if I have this and I just draw a line through it, that line that's going through is called a transversal. So that's what a transversal is, just a line going through two other lines. Okay, so now there's a bunch of theorems that happen only when the two lines are parallel. So that's the key here, two parallel lines. So the lines that the transversal is going through have to be parallel for these things to be true. The first one, the alternate interior angles theorem. This says when two lines are parallel, alternate interior angles are congruent. And alternate refers to the alternate sides of the transversal, while interior implies angles between the parallel lines. So that's what we have here in this example. Alternate refers to the different sides. Notice that one is on the left and two is on the right, while interior refers to the fact that they're both inside of their transversal. And so that's how we kind of get between. And notice that alternate also means on the opposite side. So instead of being on the bottom, they're on the top if they're alternate. So it's going from top to bottom and from left to right. So it's alternate in two different ways. And then what the theorem says is that the angles are congruent. So this is saying angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 because alternate interior angles are congruent. So I'll write that here. Angle 1 congruent to angle 2. Based on this rule. Okay, so really similar thing in rule 2 for alternate exterior angles. So when two lines are parallel, alternate exterior angles are congruent. And note again that alternate refers to alternate sides of the transversal. So notice that 1 in this example is on the right hand side and 2 is on the left hand side. So that's what the alternate means. It's switched sides. And then notice that the exterior now means, remember, interior meant inside the parallel lines. Exterior means on the outside of the parallel lines. So we're kind of as far away as we can be, and we're alternating sides. So again, this is saying angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, based on the fact that alternate exterior angles are congruent. Okay, and now we have a more intuitive one actually with corresponding angles. So when two lines are parallel, corresponding angles are congruent. So that's like 1 and 2, and notice that they're kind of in the same spot, just on different sides of the different parallel lines. So 1 is the top parallel line and it's on the upper left hand side, while 2 is the bottom parallel line, but it's also on the upper left hand side of that bottom parallel line. So corresponding angles are angles that appear in the same position on the same side of the transversal. So same position but just different parallel lines. And again, same rule holds. Angle 1 would be congruent to angle 2 there, but in this case the reasoning would be because corresponding angles are congruent. So now last one is same side interior angles, and this one hopefully you've understood kind of the nomenclature. You kind of get what all these names mean now. So same side interior is going to be what it sounds like. Remember, interior means inside of the parallel lines, and then same side means, well, same side. So that's going to be 1 and 2. Notice they're both on the left hand side and they're both inside of the two parallel lines. And what the rule for this one is, it's actually different. So notice that the first three are all about being parallel, but this one is not. This one is about being supplementary. So when two lines are parallel, same side interior angles are supplementary, and the key there is knowing that that means they add up to 180 degrees. So they're exactly what they sound like, same side of the transversal and between the parallel lines. So what I'm saying here is angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. So if I have angle 1, I can find angle 2 by doing a little bit of algebra. And notice that this is measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2. Okay, so I know this is a lot of words. We're going to go into some examples here. We're really just one example where we're going to really clarify what all of this means. So we're going to go through the list. So which ones are alternate interior angles? And so we have this listed, angles 1 through 8. This is a common way they do it. So alternate interior angles, we're just going to list all of them. And we know that that means they're congruent. So first I would think about the interior. So that means they're going to be in between the parallel lines. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then it says alternate. So that means, well, 3 and 6 because they're on opposite sides. So angle 3 congruent to angle 6. That's what I can get from this rule. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Then the other one is that angle 4 must be congruent to angle 5. Those are my two sets of alternate interior angles. Okay, so now similar thing with alternate exterior angles. And now again, let's name them. Which ones are the alternate exteriors? Well, really we're just naming the exterior angles. That's going to be the 1, 2, 7, and 8 because they are outside of the parallel lines. And now alternate, so we just need the ones that are on different sides and opposite sides of the opposite parallel lines. So that's going to be 1 and 8. So angle 1 and angle 8. And also angle 2 and angle 7. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. And notice before we get too far in that I don't say 1 and 2 are alternate exterior angles. Even though 1 and 2 are on different sides of, and they're also exterior angles, when we mean alternate, remember that alternate also implies different parallel lines. So it kind of like the 1 corresponds with this parallel line, where the 8 corresponds with this one. So notice that as well. Okay, so now corresponding angles. This one is kind of the most intuitive. It's just they kind of look like they're in the same spot, just on the other parallel line. So associated with the other parallel line. So this is like 1 and 5. See how they look like they're in the same spot? Well, they're corresponding. Corresponding means the same spot. So 2 and 6 will also be corresponding angles. And again, the rule for all of these is that they're congruent. And then angle 3 corresponds with angle 7. And then angle 4 corresponds with angle 8. And all of them are congruent. So notice that here you will have an interior angle, like 4 is an interior angle, but it corresponds with an exterior angle. And that's okay because all we're looking at is their placement relative to the other ones in the 4, out of the 4. So lastly, the one is same side interior angles. And the rule for this one, remember, is not that they are congruent, it's that they add up to 180. So first let's think again, we're dealing with interior angles. Which ones are our interiors? They are 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if we want same side interior angles, we're going to have angle 3 plus, I'm going to say measure of angle 3, plus measure of angle 5. They're supplementary. They have to add up to 180 because these are on the same side. They're on the left-hand side of the transversal. So they must be same side interior angles because they're also inside the parallel lines. And now the last one is measure of angle 4 plus measure of angle 6 has to equal 180 degrees. So hopefully that kind of gives you a better picture of what we mean by all these theorems that we listed here. I would definitely recommend you write these down, somehow commit them to memory, because you're going to see these a lot in proofs later on in the course, and really you're going to see a lot of these questions be algebra questions, so you're going to have to know these rules really well to be able to do algebra and kind of work through problems like that. So don't hesitate to contact me with any questions, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.